When you think of Stinger, let's be honest, you probably just see him as that cheap knockoff of Bumblebee from Transformers Age of Extinction, right? Well, let me stop you right there, since Stinger is way more than just a clone. Sure, KSI might have ripped off Bumblebee's look, but they didn't just make a copy. He's faster, stronger, and built with upgrades that put Bumblebee to shame. So if you've been thinking he's just some weak imitation, it's time to take a closer look. Because today, I'm going to be breaking down why Stinger is stronger than you think.
I hate cheap knockoffs.
Alright, so to understand why Stinger is so much more than a cheap knockoff, let's talk about the company that built him, KSI. Now, KSI, or Kinetic Solutions Incorporated, is a government contractor specializing in defense and aerospace technology. In the aftermath of the Battle of Chicago, KSI began reverse engineering Cybertronian corpses in an attempt to create man-made Transformers for military use. The company's head, Joshua Joyce, decided to model some of their prototypes after the Autobots. For the centerpiece of this line, Joyce chose to design Galvatron after the Autobot leader Optimus Prime. However, for reasons unknown to him, every time they would render a new body for Galvatron, it would keep looking like Megatron. However, this issue wasn't the case for their other military prototype, Stinger. Unlike Galvatron, Stinger's design went off without a hitch. After overlooking Bumblebee's schematics for inspiration, KSI's design team didn't shy away from criticizing Bumblebee's outdated features. In fact, they were pretty blunt about it. The team referred to Bumblebee's design as decrepit, antique, and kind of old and ratty. In their eyes, Bumblebee was basically a relic, and so if Stinger was going to be inspired by Bumblebee, he had to be better in every way. When designing Stinger, one of the first priorities for KSI was to upgrade the core technology he ran on. Bumblebee, in their eyes, was limited by outdated first-generation tech, making him slower and less adaptable than a modern military asset should be. So to set Stinger apart, they crafted him from Transformium, a cutting-edge reconfigurable metal with the ability to reshape itself at the molecular level. Unlike traditional Transformers, whose transformations were defined by a mechanical rearranging of parts, KSI engineered Stinger to utilize what they called a hypno-transformation. With this process, Stinger could break down into a swarm of Transformium particles and then seamlessly reassemble himself into vehicle mode. This transformation was faster, more efficient, and visually distinct from anything Bumblebee, or any Autobot for that matter, was capable of. Now, Transformium didn't just make Stinger's transformation quicker, it opened up a whole new level of efficiency and responsiveness. And that's where KSI saw another of Bumblebee's limitations, his slow and cumbersome nature. Bumblebee's classic Camaro mode, while iconic, didn't exactly scream cutting edge. For Stinger, KSI needed a form that matched his advanced tech, and so entered the 2013 Pagani Hyra, a hypercar known for its lightweight frame, agility, and incredible speed of over 230 miles per hour and a body designed for tight handling. The Hyra was the ultimate vehicle for high-speed combat. Stinger's Pagani form wasn't just about aesthetics, it was a statement of dominance, crafted to leave Bumblebee struggling to keep up. Now, KSI did not stop at overhauling Stinger's form and agility. They knew that to truly surpass Bumblebee, they had to improve what powered him. While Bumblebee relied on standard energon sources, KSI saw these as outdated, and so in order to fix that, they integrated a supercharged power supply into Stinger's design, giving him far greater energy reserves and enhanced operational endurance. But KSI's improvements did not stop with Stinger's physical capabilities. Communication was just as critical for success on the battlefield. This was another area where KSI saw Bumblebee's limitations. While Bumblebee often used his radio to communicate, relying on static and disjointed messages, his communication systems were far from ideal. KSI knew that Stinger couldn't afford to be hindered by these issues, and so they designed him with a far more advanced communication system, making him lethal yet safe. However, functionality wasn't the only thing that mattered to KSI. If Stinger was to truly surpass Bumblebee, he had to be visually striking as well, something that would turn heads and demand respect. Believing Bumblebee's design was unsightly and outdated, KSI wanted Stinger to embody a bold new look that combined elegance with intimidation. They opted for a sleek, aggressive aesthetic that streamlined his performance. Every line, angle, and detail on his frame was crafted to communicate power and efficiency, leaving behind Bumblebee's friendly, nostalgic appearance for a look that demanded attention and inspired fear. While Stinger's design and technology were a significant leap forward, KSI knew that no Transformer could truly excel without a weaponry suite that matched their capabilities. For Stinger, this meant looking at Bumblebee's arsenal and identifying where it fell short. Bumblebee's primary weapon, a plasma cannon that deployed from his hand, was effective but limited in versatility. KSI took this idea and improved upon it, turning Stinger's plasma cannon into a dual-function weapon that not only transformed into a high-powered energy weapon, but also served as a pincer claw that emerged from his forearm. This allowed Stinger to still have access to his hand while having the option to unleash a devastating attack when necessary. Bumblebee also used shoulder-mounted cannons, but KSI re-engineered them so that they deployed out of Stinger's forearms, making them more accessible and quicker to deploy in combat situations. But KSI did not stop there. Understanding the importance of versatility in battle, they added a harpoon weapon to Stinger's arsenal, giving him a tool for both ranged and close-quarters combat. Unlike Bumblebee, who had to rely on standard blasters and melee attacks, Stinger on the other hand was equipped with weapons designed for overwhelming and precise strikes, ensuring he was always prepared for any battle scenario. So as you guys can see, Stinger was far from just a cheap knockoff. KSI did not just copy Bumblebee's design. They took everything that was good about him and supercharged it to create a far superior version. And you know what? Bumblebee knew it, since after he first laid eyes on Stinger in that showroom, he realized that he was being outclassed. And so, not willing to be overshadowed, Bumblebee decided to steal Stinger's sleek design and powerful weapons for himself. Now, you might think that after Bumblebee took Stinger's design and weapons for himself, the two would be on equal footing. After all, they look almost identical and share similar firepower. But here's the thing. Even with Bumblebee's new upgrades, Stinger still holds the edge in terms of raw power. And we know this since when Bumblebee and Hound were taking on Galvatron's forces, Stinger had Bumblebee pinned down and was repeatedly punching him in the face. B was only able to get the upper hand when Optimus Prime and Grimlock showed up, giving B the opening he needed to kick Stinger off of him. Now, you could argue that this example does not definitively prove that Stinger is stronger than Bumblebee, especially since by this point in the battle, Bumblebee had already fought and killed several drones, and was likely weakened by the time he engaged Stinger. However, what if I told you that I have an example that proves without a shadow of a doubt that Stinger is not only stronger than Bumblebee, but is actually far more powerful than most of us realize? You see, it all stems to the scene where Optimus gets captured by Lockdown. In this scene, Prime tells Cade Yeager to warn the Autobots as he gets captured. However, have you ever decided to stop and think to yourself, where the heck Bumblebee, Hound, Drift, and Crosshairs were at from the time Optimus was being pursued by Galvatron to being captured by Lockdown? This all takes place over a period of nearly 5 minutes, during which none of the Autobots are present to help Optimus. And here's the thing. There's only one reasonable explanation for their absence. They were all busy dealing with none other than Stinger. And this can be proven by the fact that the last time we see Stinger is when he and Galvatron were shooting rockets at the Autobots, which as we know caused a massive accident that forced Optimus and Bumblebee out of their vehicle modes. And as we know, after Galvatron tanked Bumblebee's attack, B decided to stay behind. And while the film never shows us why Bumblebee did not regroup with Optimus, the fact that he didn't leads us to infer that Bumblebee chose to regroup with Hound, Drift, and Crosshairs, who at this point in universe had to be fighting Stinger. So based on what the film implies, Stinger single-handedly took on 4 Autobots all at once and held his own in combat, which blows my mind, since you wouldn't believe that would be a feat Stinger could accomplish. Now, the likely reason why this was done from a plot standpoint is because at this point in the film, Optimus needed to be alone in order to be taken away by Lockdown, and so the Autobots had to be preoccupied somehow, so the script could later introduce the plot point of the Autobots infiltrating the ship to save Optimus. However, because of the shortcomings script-wise, this makes Stinger in-universe one of the most powerful Transformers that we see. And really, the only reason why Bumblebee was able to take him down was because Strafe was able to even out the fight, giving Bumblebee the opening he needed to get the killing blow. And so, with all that said, I hope you now have a better appreciation for just how powerful Stinger really is, and how in hindsight he's actually a very underrated character.